I have a slightly embarrassing confession to make to start us off today.
Oh, this sounds good.
I sat down this morning to prep for this deep dive. I had my coffee, my notes, I was ready to go. And within 4 minutes, I'm not kidding, 4 minutes, I was looking up the weather for a trip I'm not even taking for 3 months.
Huh, that's classic.
Then I checked my email, then the news, just to see if the world had ended since I last looked.
It hadn't. I checked too.
It took me a full 20 minutes to actually start reading the first page.
Honestly, only 20 minutes. I think that's actually above average these days. The bar is pretty low.
That is genuinely terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But it brings us right to the reality we're tackling today. We live in a world that feels explicitly designed to just, shatter our focus into a million little pieces.
It is. And the irony, which is really central to what we're discussing, is that as the world gets louder and more distracting, the ability to do the opposite, to shut it all out and focus, that's becoming the single most valuable skill in the economy.
It's the superpower of the 21st century. Welcome to another deep dive from the practical mind.
Today, we're tackling a book that I think is essential for anyone trying to get anything meaningful done in this chaotic world.
It's Deep Work by Cal Newport. And look, I know what you might be thinking, another productivity book. Wake up at 4 a.m. and chug ice water.
Right, but that's exactly what this isn't. Newport isn't talking about hacks or how to answer more emails in less time. In fact, he pretty much argues that our obsession with answering emails is a huge part of the problem.
This book is pretty much the flagship idea for what we try to do here. Use powerful concepts to actually change how we live.
Exactly. Newport's central thesis is radical, but it's also incredibly simple. Meaningful success requires periods of intense, undistracted concentration, and most of us are just, losing the ability to do it.
Because of our network tools, social media, email, Slack, that constant hum of information.
That's the one.
So let's break this down. We have to start with the definitions because Newport draws a really hard line in the sand between two types of work. You've got deep work and shallow work.
Right. So deep work, that's any professional activity you do in a state of distraction-free concentration. It pushes your cognitive abilities right to their limit.
So it's not just working hard.
No. It's working in a way that creates new value, that improves your skill. It's the kind of work that's hard to replicate.
The example from the book that everyone always brings up, and for good reason, is Carl Jung.
Yes, the Bullingen Tower. So, in the 1920s, Jung is trying to revolutionize psychiatry. And he doesn't just, lock his office door. He buys land in the woods in Switzerland and literally builds a stone tower.
A fortress of solitude. A fortress against distraction.
Precisely. No electricity, no phone. He'd go there for weeks at a time just to think and write. That is the definition of deck work.
And then you have the other side of that coin, shallow work.
Which is where, unfortunately, most of us live our professional lives.
I feel that.
Shallow work is all the non-cognitively demanding stuff, the logistical tasks usually done while you're distracted, replying to emails, sitting in endless status meetings, tweaking the font size on a slide.
The dangerous thing about it, which he points out, is that it feels productive.
It does. You get that little dopamine hit when you clear your inbox, feel busy. But in reality, you're creating very little new value, and almost anyone could do it.
It's the classic difference between being busy and being effective. But this is where it gets really interesting. Newport doesn't just say focus is good. He makes a really hard economic argument for it.
He does. He calls it the deep work hypothesis. As our economy shifts and technology automates the easy stuff, he argues that the middle of the job market is getting hollowed out. There are 3 groups that are going to thrive.
Okay, so who are the winners in this new economy?
First, you have the high-skilled workers. These are the people who can work creatively with intelligent machines.
Like using AI to do something totally new.
Exactly. Second, you have the owners, the people with the capital to invest in this new technology.
Okay, and since most of us don't have a spare $1 billion lying around, we're probably aiming for the other categories.
Right. Which leaves the third group, the superstars.
This is the one that kind of scared me.
It should. In a global marketplace, geography just doesn't matter anymore. If I run a company, why would I hire a mediocre programmer down the street when I can hire the best programmer in the world who works remotely?
You wouldn't, you'd hire the best.
So to join the winners, you need 2 core abilities. 1, the ability to master hard things very quickly. And 2, the ability to produce work at an elite level, both in quality and speed.
And both of those absolutely require deep work.
Precisely. If you can't focus, you can't learn hard things, and you can't produce elite work. You're basically putting a ceiling on your own career potential.
So let's look at the science of this, because he's not just guessing. There's biological proof that distraction actually makes us worse at learning.
Yes, this brings us to myelination.
I love this concept. It's like insulating a wire, isn't it?
That's the perfect analogy. So every skill you have, coding, playing an instrument, whatever, it's just a specific circuit of neurons firing in your brain.
Okay.
To get better at that skill, you need that circuit to fire faster and cleaner. Myelin is a fatty tissue that wraps around those neurons. The more myelin, the better the signal.
And how do we build more of that myelin?
By firing the circuit repeatedly, and this is the crucial part in isolation. When you're focusing intensely on just that one thing, you trigger this process. But if you're distracted,
If you're trying to code while also thinking about a text message,
you're firing too many competing circuits, the myelin doesn't wrap effectively, so by multitasking, you are physically preventing your brain from upgrading itself.
wow. So I'm not just being slow, I'm actually hindering my own development.
You literally cannot learn as well if you're distracted.
That explains so much. But there's another concept he brings up that I found even more terrifying. Attention residue.
Yes, from the researcher Sophie Leroy, it asks, what actually happens in your brain when you just quickly glance at your inbox?
You think it takes 3 seconds. Oh, just checking if that client replied.
Right. But what Leroy's research found is that when you switch from task A to task B, your attention doesn't fully follow you. A residue of your attention stays stuck on the previous task.
So if I'm writing a report and I quickly check an email that says, hey, can we talk later? Even when I go back to the report.
Part of your brain is still processing that email. What do they want to talk about? Is it bad news? You are operating with a lower cognitive capacity. You're making yourself dumber in that moment.
And if I'm checking my phone every 10 minutes,
Then you're just layering residue on top of residue. You spend your entire day in a state of a persistent cognitive handicap. It explains why you can sit at a desk for 8 hours, feel totally exhausted, and then realize you didn't finish anything important.
it explains people like Adam Grant, the Wharton professor Newport mentions.
Grant is a machine. He publishes at an insane rate. He does it by batching his work. He'll teach all his classes in one semester, and then the next semester, he's basically a ghost.
He puts up an out-of-office reply even when he's in his office, right?
Yeah, just to avoid that residue. He refuses to let the shallow work contaminate the deep work.
Okay, so we get the why. Deep work is valuable, and distraction leaves this sludge in our brains. So what do? We can't all go build a stone tower in Switzerland.
No, and Newport gets that. He presents 4 depth philosophies because willpower alone is not enough.
Yeah.
You can't just decide to focus, you need a system.
Right. Willpower gets tired. Okay, let's run through these so you can figure out which one fits your life. The first one is the monastic philosophy.
This is the Donald Knuth approach, legendary computer scientist. He famously doesn't have an email address. He has a postal address. He says, I am here to do the work, not answer questions. It's total isolation. It works if you're a tenured genius, but for most of us, if you stop answering email, you just get fired.
Yeah, my boss might have an issue with that one. So number 2 is bimodal. This is more like what Jung did.
Exactly. You divide your time clearly, maybe it's 4 days of normal connected work, and then you vanish for a 3-day weekend of pure, deep work. You alternate between extreme connection and extreme isolation.
That seems more doable. But the third one, rhythmic. This feels like the one for most people.
I agree. This is the don't break the chain method. You create a daily habit. Maybe it's from 5:30 to 7 a.m. every single morning. You just do it.
The key is that it removes the decision, right? You don't waste energy deciding when to work.
Exactly. The decision is already made. It's just part of your daily rhythm.
And lastly, the journalistic philosophy.
This is the expert level. It's the ability to switch into deep mode at a moment's notice. You've got 20 minutes before a meeting, you dive in and do real work.
That takes some serious mental muscle.
It does. Most people would spend that 20 minutes just trying to get focused. But no matter which philosophy you pick, Newport stresses the need for rituals.
Signaling to your brain that it's time to work.
Yes, where do you work? For how long? What do you drink? He tells the story of J.K. Rowling finishing the Deathly Hallows. She couldn't do it at home. The dogs, the kids, the window cleaner.
So she checked into a 5-star hotel suite.
Exactly, the Balmoral Hotel. And she said the cost actually helped. She thought, I'm paying a fortune for this room, I better write. The ritual of going there unlocked the focus.
I love that. Okay, so we have a schedule, a philosophy. But that's not enough. We have to actually train our brains to handle the work. This brings us to rule #2. Embrace boredom.
This is so important and probably the hardest rule for most of us. He says, don't take breaks from distraction, take breaks from focus.
Wait, say that again. Unpack that for me.
We think, I worked hard for an hour, I deserve to scroll Instagram. But Newport says if you pull out your phone every single time you feel a moment of boredom waiting in line, waiting for a friend, you are training your brain to be addicted to new stimuli.
You're teaching your brain that boredom is a crisis that needs to be solved instantly.
Precisely. And deep work is often, by its nature, difficult and boring. If your brain can't tolerate the boredom of a grocery line, it has no chance of tolerating the sustained focus needed to solve a complex problem.
So the practical tip here is scheduling internet blocks.
Yes. You decide on specific times you're allowed to go online. Outside those blocks, you resist. Even if you need to look something up for work, you have to wait. It's like weightlifting for your attention span.
That sounds agonizing.
It is at first, but it works. Another technique he mentions is Roosevelt dashes.
Named after Teddy Roosevelt.
Right. At Harvard, he had a ton of interests outside of class. So to fit it all in, he'd look at a task, estimate how long it should take, and then drastically cut that time.
So if an essay should take 2 hours, he'd give himself, what, 45 minutes?
Exactly. It forces an incredible intensity of focus. You can't daydream. You have to lock in. It teaches your brain to get into that high gear quickly.
I've tried this. It feels like a mental sprint. It's exhausting, but what you get done is just wild. Now, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Social media.
Right. Rule #3 is essentially quit social media. Though he's a bit more nuanced, he advocates for a craftsman approach to your tools.
Meaning?
A skilled craftsman doesn't use a tool just because it has some benefit. They only use a tool if its benefits significantly outweigh its negatives for their core goals.
So we justify using a distracting app by saying, well, I might find an interesting article. That's some benefit.
But if your main goal is to write a book and that app fragments your attention so badly that you can't write, then that minor benefit is completely irrelevant. The cost is far too high.
It's a cost-benefit analysis we just never do. Which leads to the final rule. Rule #4. Drain the shallows. This is about restructuring your time.
And this is where he introduces fixed schedule productivity. He tells the story of Ratika Nagpal, a professor who wanted tenure.
Which in academia usually means working insane 80-hour weeks.
Right. But she decided she wouldn't work evenings or weekends. She set a hard cap at 50 hours a week.
That sounds like professional suicide in that field.
It does. But because her time was scarce, she had to be ruthless. She worked backward from that 50-hour limit. She couldn't go to every meeting. She had to say no to most travel. She cut the shallow work to the bone.
And the result?
She got tenure. And her research group published a paper that made the cover of Science magazine.
Because scarcity clarified what was actually valuable.
Exactly. If you have infinite time, you'll fill it with infinite shallow tasks. If you only have 50 hours, you only do what truly matters.
And the practical tactic for this, the one that makes people nervous, is to schedule every minute of your day.
It sounds restrictive, but it's actually liberating. You look at your day and you give every minute a job, even your breaks.
But, life happens. Your boss calls you into a meeting.
And that's fine. When the plan breaks, you just take a minute and redraw the blocks for the rest of your day. The point isn't to stick to the plan perfectly, it's to always be intentional with your time.
So you stop living on autopilot. You're forced to confront the fact that a quick email check was actually a 45-minute black hole.
That's it. You see reality.
So if we zoom out here, what are the big takeaways for someone listening to this?
I think it comes down to 3 main things. First, schedule a daily protected block of deep work, even just 90 minutes. Put it on your calendar and defend it.
Second, treat your focus like a muscle. Stop soothing every moment of boredom with your phone. Let yourself be bored. It's training.
And third, drain the shallows. Do a ruthless audit of your day. How much time is spent on things that create real value versus just feeling busy? Be honest about it.
I want to leave everyone with one final question to think about. What would you ask them?
I'd ask you this. What is the one wildly important goal in your life right now that's stalled, not because you aren't capable, but because you're drowning in shallow work?
That's the key, isn't it? You don't need more hours, you need more depth.
You need to build your own version of that Bullingdon Tower, even if it's just a pair of noise-canceling headphones and a closed door for an hour.
That's a perfect place to end. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into deep work.
My pleasure.
Understand your mind. Change your life. We'll see you next time.